I don't think she cares anything about our business.
No.
I don't think she takes professional wrestling serious. I think with her, it's all about Ronda Rousey.
One-on-one.
Mac Davis, WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and welcome back to One-on-One. What's up, Teddy?
Hey, what's going on, Mac? Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all of our One-on-One listeners there that are checking us out today and going to continue to subscribe to us for the brand new year. And if you haven't subscribed already, then look down at the bottom of that screen and make that New Year's resolution to sign up for One-on-One right now. We're waiting on you.
Teddy, I haven't even told you this, and I was about to tell you this before we went to record, but I'm going to tell you right now as we record. How about that? If you hear a lot of hammers going off in the background, and even got saws over here. I hear saws going over here. And the reason for all that is we are under construction. This may very well be Teddy and I's very last one-on-one with Sportskeeda. That's because they're enlarging the show and making it even bigger and better, and we're going to go under a new name from what I'm being told. We're going to revamp the name, and they're going to revamp the show a little bit because the show is doing so well that they feel we can help a platform of theirs, and so we're going to go along for the ride and see what happens. But one-on-one, as far as I know, this may be it, Teddy. This may be our last official one-on-one show before we have a name change and some upgrades to the show from what I'm being told.
Well, you know probably more than I know about it. So my thing is,
I just told you what I know. Honest to God, that's about all I do know. I was told that, hey guys, when you record today, make sure you mention that this may be your last show. And of course, at first I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And then they told me, no, we're going to revamp it. We got some big ideas. We just want to change it around a little bit. So they told me to make sure we let people know.
Well, whatever they want to do, we're with them so far. They've been straight up with us, they've been, real fair and everything. Yep. So, I'm just, glad to be, doing business with them. So if we can keep up the good work, then I'm sure that they can keep up the good work on their end.
Absolutely. And we had a lot of response on especially the last two shows. The response coming in from those shows has been tremendous. Thank you very much for that. All you have to do, if you have a question or anything else that you'd like us to talk about on a future show of whatever name it will be called, just leave them down here in the comments section, because if you do that, we can get to those questions and answer those for you on, again, whatever what name we're going to call the show next week. So you know how it goes. But let me mention this. We had a lot of people comment also on Bobby Eaton. Teddy, people love the fact that you chose him as your favorite wrestler, or the most successful or best wrestler. I can't remember how we put it, but people really enjoyed the fact that you brought him to the fold like that.
Well, Bobby Eaton was a great friend of mine. Bobby Eaton was part of my career. And, he always, had my back. He, always looked out for me, and I always looked out for him. And we just got along, man. Bobby is one of the sweetest guys. I mean, if you can't get along with Bobby Eaton, then something got to be wrong with you, man.
Teddy, I'll tell you a quick story about Bobby Eaton. Now, I grew up, and Bobby Eaton was one of those stars, as you know, for me, was one of the big stars of my wrestling years. And so I had an opportunity. I was in Warner Robins at the Warner Robins Civic Center to watch a show that Sarge, who used to be with WCW, and he trained at the power plant, he was running shows there after WCW.
Dwayne Bruce,
yes. And as a matter of fact, he's on the Facebook page of mine all the time. So Dwayne, if you're watching this, hey, man. And he was a tough guy. Let me tell you something. If you went down to the power plant, he was no joke. He would put you through like a drill sergeant in those routines they would do. I watched one full day, Teddy, of them doing that. Not a chance in hell that I think I could do that many squats like they were doing. Just unbelievable. But anyhow, getting back to Bobby Eaton, I was in Warner Robins, and Ray Lloyd Glacier, was on the show, and he saw me in the audience, and he motioned to me to come to the curtains, and I went back to the curtains, and he said, hey, we need some guys to work the show. Are you available? And I was like, yeah. He says, we just need you to run in one match, and then when you get around the ring, you'd be a lumberjack. I'm like, okay. The guy I faced off with on the floor, I was the face side, and here's Bobby, and here I am. We face off with each other. Never met Bobby, never spoke with Bobby before that moment. He put me over like $1 million. He looked like he was terrified I was going to kill him. And it was perfect for what we were doing. And I always remember that. And I told him that at one of these shows that we went to at one time to let him know. I wanted him to know how much that meant to me, because that little moment was almost like it was magic to me. It was like, man, I'm a kid, and I'm standing face to face with Bobby Eaton. You know, it was an incredible moment. So nobody else probably cares, but for me, that was a personal moment that I won't ever forget.
Well, a lot of people don't understand our part of the business, so that's probably why they don't care. You care because you understand. You know what that meant to you, and Bobby knew exactly what to do. You know, Bobby was always business. When he was out there, whatever it took to get himself over or anybody else, Bobby always did that. Didn't never have a complaint about anything.
And the trick is, Teddy, you just said it. He would put people over. If everybody put the other person over, man, we'd just having a killer business going right now. Just a killer business.
Well, what we got to get away from, and I think we've got away from it a little bit. I watch some of the stuff now, and I see that it's still there. We got to quit going out there and getting in business for ourselves. That's what the problem is. A lot of guys going to the ring getting in business for themselves, and that's not how it works.
Now, that's part of the problem AEW was having. A lot of the guys, according to people like CM Punk, that was a major issue, that people would go out there and go into business for themselves. And one of those cases being Hangman Page trying to bury Punk on live TV without Punk being there to respond, which then prompted Punk to have that explosion at the all-out press conference. So, people going into business for themselves should be fired on the spot, really. Vince wouldn't put up with that, would he?
No.
If you went out there and went into business for yourself, and I mean really went into business for yourself in the ring, what would Vince have done backstage? Would he have cut you off at the mic, going to commercials, or what?
Well, I'm living proof of it. Okay, now this is the first time I ever had any problems with Vince. We was doing the dog match one night. So the dog match is a match that after the TV's over, the live TV, then there's a dog match. So I'm out there, me and Randy Orton. Okay, Randy Orton is in the dog match. So I had to go out and make the dog match. So I'm out there now. I'm thinking, well, the TV's over, dog match, I can have a little fun. So I started to introduce Randy Orton. I called him the Legend Killer, the Viper. I give him 2 or 3 names because we was in St. Louis in his hometown. So I'm just really trying, I know he's in his hometown. I'm just really trying to put him over, like $1 million, and I'm, So I thought I was doing the right thing. So I come back through the curtain and Vince was standing up. He was waiting on me. And he called me, come over there, and he looked right at me. He says, "You in business for yourself out there?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, Randy lives here. Everybody knows he's the Viper. They knows he's the Legend Killer. You don't have to tell him." And he caught me right then. And I said to him, I said, "You know what, sir? You're exactly right." I said, "I'll be honest. I was out there having a little fun. And I said, I'll never let that happen again. You don't ever have to worry." And he looked back at me and he told me, "Yeah, you're better than that."
Now, let me ask you, having you've been through it, I can imagine other people have gone through that same situation before. Did you see cases where people may have gone into business for themselves and Vince let them know when they got back there, this isn't your show?
Yeah, well, there were a lot of guys not a whole lot. I mean, I think I saw Abraham Washington one time. He was a manager there, and I think he went out on TV and said some stuff out of it, that he come up with, and it wasn't written. So I think, and so they Vince ringed him a new ass when he got back there, and so it wasn't long after that he was fired.
Wow. Let's talk about some of the big news just from the last week, Teddy, in WWE. John Cena made his return. And debuting on the same night was his bald spot. According to a lot of the people who were watching that show, that's the only thing they could focus on was the man's bald spot. Now, I just want to say, as I get it, it's funny to some people. I went through that phase of myself in my wrestling years. It drove me crazy. I hated it as much as the people hated seeing me with it. And when I finally got rid of it, I got rid of it. But what that does not mean John Cena didn't perform Friday night. More people forgot about the performance he had. Instead, they focused on the bald spot.
Well, maybe they may have forgot about the performance because, he wasn't one of these guys that, lingers on. You know what I mean? So, you could watch him one night and then forget about him the next night. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm just saying myself. But like I said, I don't know. I don't know how
bald spots have been a hard thing for a lot of guys. I mean, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan.
it never bothered me. I mean, when it was time, I just could shave my head. I just cut my hair off, and actually, it really works out better for you, because if you shave your head, nobody knows whether you were bald or not. You could have had hair. You just shaved it all off. So, you know, a lot of guys don't know how to, it takes stuff, you know what I mean? Take it and make it work for you. Don't let it be negative to you.
I remember sitting down, we were sitting down having dinner, a family dinner, and my kids were still kind of young. And I came to the table, and I had just saw some video of a match I had that weekend, and I was like, oh God, that bald spot. It was driving me crazy. I went to the bathroom, got up from my table, went to the bathroom, grabbed my shaving kit, came back to the table, turned on the razor, and went like that. Got one big chunk out of there. My kids, my wife, they're all staring at me like, what the hell are you doing? Because I didn't tell them I was going to do that. And it just, at that point, I was done. I just knew it had to go. You know, I just reached that point. So I don't know how the hell we got off on this topic. I need to stop drinking coffee. Let's talk about Roman Reigns, Teddy. He's catching some heat after that match where John Cena's bald spot made an appearance. It was that tag team match between John Cena and Kevin Owens against the Bloodline, which was Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. It was just about a few months ago, I guess, where KO had slapped Roman Reigns on an episode of, I guess it was SmackDown maybe. And he smacked him a little hard, a little stiff. Well, people now think that on Friday night, Roman Reigns got a receipt and paid him back. Did you see that, Teddy? See, well, I know what I saw. So what did you see?
Yeah, well, I know what I saw too. Like I said, you know, guys like Roman Reigns, they come up, you know, through the old school. Okay. Oh, yeah. So when you give a guy, you know, with the slang they used to call a potato, when you potato a guy, then you can look out for your receipt. So I think that's what that's happened. Brother just got his receipt. So that's how it works in this business.
Yeah, man. As soon as it happened, I was like, oh man, that looks a little tight. And sure enough, he came up. Boom, he was busted.
Then, you know. And then I can also say this: that may not have been a receipt. It could have been, you know, that just accidents happen.
Oh yeah,
you know, he could have popped him and busted him open.
I would have stayed with the story.
Yeah, we just never know. But like I said, I've known a lot of guys to get a lot of receipts.
Yeah, and receipts for people who are not aware, and when we're saying this, receipts are basically a payback for hitting somebody. I mean, if you took advantage of somebody a little bit too much, they're going to remind you when you get back sooner or later. You know, that they owe you one, and they always get it back.
Either you'll get it out in the ring or you'll get it back in the locker room.
Speaking of receipts, Karen Jarrett is hot. And I don't mean in a sexy way. I mean, she is mad as a hornet. And she had gotten involved in she got involved in a tweet that Kurt Angle sent out talking about Jeff Jarrett and something. Everybody seems to be talking about everybody else lately. Well, she got out there and she said this. Now, this is what she said after she saw the tweet from Kurt Angle. Think twice before making threats, insulting, disrespecting my husband. I am done with living in fear. I have for 24 years of, I've gone through 24 years of dirt. And I'm ready to start unloading. That was Karen Jarrett trying to stand up for her husband, Jeff Jarrett, after some comments made by Kurt Angle. You were there. You've seen all these characters that are involved. Is this just a lot of people run their mouths that need to shut up?
Well, I don't know, man. You know, I try to stay out of all that. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of drama. And I'm a guy, I don't want to be associated with drama. So I don't know what Kurt Angle said about Jeff or whatever. And now I don't know why Karen is all exploded, but evidently it might have been something touching. And when you hear people saying that they're ready to fight back, maybe they're ready to talk about stuff that maybe they shouldn't talk about, and maybe they didn't want people to know. So you just never know.
Yeah, because she threw out a couple of names when she said something. She kind of put them at the very end of her text. She said, Kelly, and Dawn Marie. And it's been taken that she may be hinting that may be some people that Kurt may have been mixed up with. I just think that, and I know you've said this before as well, business in the back should always remain in the back. And that includes the personal lives of the wrestlers that are taking place. Not everybody needs to know everybody's damn business. Now, if you bring it out yourself, it's on you.
Well, that's hard to do. If you're dating someone, and right there, and you're on the job with them, it's kind of hard to keep that head. And I mean, if you're strictly business, you know what I mean. There's a way to do that, you know what I mean. But you have to be two agreeing partners. You got to sit down and talk with the girl and say, hey, we don't need to be flirting around at work. We don't need to be hugging, and we don't need to be doing nothing related to anything that would involve both of us. We need to leave that alone. At work, we need to act just like we do on any other job. Speak to each other and keep right on moving and do our job. Because what you do in your personal life is your personal business. Nobody has anything to do with that. But when you start involving your personal life in the work life, then it's going to get out and then it's going to cause problems. So like I said, I just try to stay away from all of it because it's just a bunch of drama.
Teddy, it seems like for a long time, it really wasn't encouraged for the talent to date one another. When did that change?
Well, I don't think it's changed. I mean, that's talent.
Has it always happened that way over the time? I mean, even back in the early days? Yeah, really?
Yeah, no, guys are right now dating girls now that they're working with. So that hasn't changed. You know what I mean? Like I said, you just need to be more discreet and kind of keep your business to yourself. Quit mixing business with pleasure.
Kind of like what was happening between Stephanie and Paul at the time. They had to keep things quiet because Vince was not a big fan of that either, was he?
Well, I don't think so.
In the beginning, he didn't care for it. Then he's like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether he took it like that or not. You know what I mean? But the only thing I know, no wrestling promoter wants a wrestler dating his daughter. I mean, that was just taboo. I heard that.
I can't imagine why that would be the case, Teddy.
Well, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Your daughter comes to you and says, Daddy, I want to go to, backstage and I want to date some of these guys. What are you going to tell her?
Well, if my daughter's old enough, to make up her own mind, then that's on her. You know what I mean? But if she's underage there, then, me and her have to have a talk. But if she's old enough to make up her own mind and make up her own decision, if she want to date somebody, if it's somebody that I know, and if I can, tell her something about them that's not good, I'll do it. If I can tell her something that's good, I'll let her know. But if my daughter's old enough to make her own decision, then I stay out of it.
Let me ask you, I just thought about this as we were talking, but did you ever have any of your children, like your son, who just like, Dad, I want to try out to be a wrestler? Did that ever come up?
No. My son never did want to have anything to do with it. And I got some grandkids now. They love it to death. So I took them to a couple of the wrestling training camps and got them in the ring and, let them learn a little bit. But they love it. But as far as my son, he didn't care anything about it.
I can just imagine one of your grandbabies one day being on WWE SmackDown, coming out being SmackDown general manager. That would be cool as hell. That would be cool.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna happen. You can forget about that.
Charlotte Flair made her comeback last week, and boy, the fans seemed to really pop for her. That place seemed like it just exploded. But she came back, and not only did she come back, she took the belt from Ronda Rousey in no time inside the ring. Now, Ronda had a match just before, so she was beaten down, but she took that title off of her real quick. Did you get to see that, Teddy?
No, I didn't get to see that.
Oh, man, you got to go back and watch. That was good.
Yeah, well, but, congratulations to Charlotte Flair. She's, great athlete, and I've watched her, her working over the years, and she's done such a tremendous job. She's come a long way in a short time. And so, like I said, I think the belt certainly belongs around Charlotte Flair's waist and not Ronda Rousey. Nothing against Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey, you know what I mean? She's not she ain't, you know what I mean? She's just not a wrestling person to me. Great person, great woman in person. I had a chance to meet her one time at one of the Wrestlemanias, but sometimes, there's a thing about this business here, you have to have it. It has to, some people have, got it in their genes. You take a Randy Orton, step in the ring with him, he's inherited that from his father and his grandfather. And like Charlotte Flair certainly has inherited a lot from her father. So, like I said, I think the belt, they did the right thing with that. They put it on Charlotte Flair, and I mean, no better decision you could make.
I feel like Ronda Rousey has actually lost some of her shine since she's been in WWE. When she first came there and she had the match, her very first match, and she got Triple H, I want to say she got him in an arm bar and flicked him down, or I can't remember, but she came out really hot, and she looked like, wow, she's taking to this like a fish to water. This is good. But over time, it seems like her love for the sport doesn't show. And that,
I was going to stop you right there. I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly how I feel. I don't think she cares anything about our business.
No.
I don't think she takes professional wrestling serious. I think with her, it's all about Ronda Rousey. You know, she's one of the people that I think would go in business for themselves. So, like I said, great person, but, you know, this business is different. You know, you got to take this with, you know, real serious.
Let me ask you, while we're talking about female wrestlers, who do you think are some of the best female wrestlers? And it doesn't have to be current. It could be over time since, you know, you've been around. Who do you feel are some of the best female wrestlers we've ever seen?
Well, you had Jackie Moore. That was back in the day, Miss Texas, Jackie Moore. You had Jazz. You know, she was great. You had Trish Stratus, Molly Holly, Sherry Martel, God rest her soul, you know, was great there. So, you know, there were a lot of great women, you know, Joyce Graybro. A lot of people probably don't remember her. Bambi, I'm sure you know who she is from out of Atlanta, from around Georgia. So a lot of great women, Moolah, Mae Young, Jesus Christ, man. The list goes on and on.
Do you feel like we need more female wrestling than we're getting right now?
No, I think I think it's even game now. I mean, there's enough women, you know, they show on TV. I think they've got enough.
Yeah, I think we've gotten to a point now where if the wrestling's good enough and the fans want to see it bad enough, they can be the main event with no question at all. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. It's what you deliver in the ring that the fans want to see.
That's exactly right. You hit it on the head. It don't make no difference whether you're male or female. If you got what it takes in that ring, then that's what the people want to see.
Yeah. Bruce Pritchard has revealed that Vince McMahon once thought of ending Undertaker's streak after win number 13. He wanted him to finish the streak at number 13. And the person he wanted to beat Undertaker on the match 14 at WrestleMania was the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
Well, I don't know. I didn't never hear that. I mean, Bruce was, you know, he's office personnel, you know, he's in there. So, you know, if he says something, he would definitely know. But that's something that I never did hear. I only heard one time that he was going to drop it to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was going to end the streak. So that's the only thing I heard. Never heard anything about Mark Henry, though. But Vince, don't get me wrong, Mark Henry was great there, and Vince liked Mark.
Yes.
So, you know, that possibly could have happened.
Yeah, they said that Vince, as the time got closer and closer, he got cold feet, and he wouldn't pull the trigger on it. So they made a change. And I think Mark Henry was still his opponent, but Mark Henry didn't win. Rumors have it that John Cena may be facing Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Logan Paul is one of those influencers from social media that really came into the scene. I thought, you know, oh man, this makes no sense. What are they bringing this guy in here for? He's a hell of a talent.
Well, we got to get away from the old school. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard. You know what I mean? But the times have changed now. We're in the 20th century. So I knew time back in the day, they wouldn't have gave Logan Paul wouldn't have got the time of day. No. But now the business has changed. You know, like I said, we're in the 20th century now. So people like Logan Paul with a tremendous background, they're going to put people in the seats. They're going to draw your money.
Well, and he's a hell of a talent, Teddy. I mean, his matches have been incredible.
I've watched him. Yeah, you're exactly right. He's a hell of a talent, and that's because he wants it. This is what he wants to do. He takes as much pride in this as he does in his other career. So anytime you want this, and this is what your dream, and you're going to make it, do everything you can to make it happen. And Logan Paul has certainly done that. So I think John Cena, deserves a lot of credit too, but for him to be tagged up with a guy like Logan Paul is going to give him a big bump, I think Cena ought to take advantage of it.
Yeah, because we're talking about social media numbers now. Logan Paul has the social media following that the value in that is probably worth more than him as his own physical self.
Exactly, because that's what it's based on now. Like I said, the world's changed. It's based on numbers. Everything's a numbers game now. So back in the day, you didn't have to worry about numbers, social media, and all that stuff. But, like I said, it's different now. So I think with, John Cena, Logan Paul, that's a good match, good pick right there, good team. I think that'll put some people in the seats.
Real quick, do you think that Logan Paul can be a champion carrying a belt for WWE?
I think anybody can be a champion if that's what they want. It's how they want to use you. If they put the belt on you and use you right, properly, then you will become a great champion. But just putting the belt on and you're not used right, then that doesn't help you at all. So it's according to, like I said, they can put the belt on anybody. It's according to how they portray you with that belt on and how you're being used on TV. That's what makes a champion. And also the guy that wears the belt too. If you're a great athlete, great wrestler, that can also be in your favor too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just, it seems to me like Logan Paul, as much as I like Logan Paul, less is more with him, I believe, that he can be an attraction almost where he does those matches a few times a year until he gets so good that he can do match after match. I'm not sure he's up to that level yet because he hasn't had enough matches under his belt. But I would protect him for a while if that's the case and make him superstar as much as they can because there's a star written across him and you can just look at him. You don't have to know anything about his background. You just look at him and go, this guy's a star. Something about this guy is a star,
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the superstars of WWE that their contracts are coming to an end, Teddy, in 2023. And so far, we don't know where these contracts are going. The first one on the list for WWE is Elias. Now, have you kept up with Elias?
Yeah, I like Elias.
I do too.
I had a chance to talk to him. I think the last time I was there, I had a chance to talk to him. Yeah, I like Elias.
I didn't like his brother, but I liked Elias.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think, I don't know. Like Elias, he's grown on people. People like him. Yep. So I just don't know what to say. It's hard to say whether they're going to keep him around or whether they're going to release him. But
I hope they keep him around, and I hope that they let him be more than they let him be because it seemed to me like he was being held back a little bit. Now, it could be that maybe he was holding himself back, and I don't know that. But on TV, it appeared he was not being pushed as hard as he could have been. And I felt like he could have been a lot more of a star than he was.
Well, sometimes the guy has a lot to do with his push, too.
Yes.
So, like I said, we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? But like I said, at times I met him, he seemed to have a great attitude and everything. So that's all I can say about him. But hopefully, I don't want to see anybody get released. So hopefully they'll, try to repackage him and keep him around.
The other name that's on there is the name I couldn't think of on the last show when I was telling you about the guy that was doing the 420 gimmick like Rob Van Dam, Matt Riddle, who is currently on probation with WWE. His contract is up this year.
Well, if he's already on probation, you know what I mean? I don't know what to say, man. Matt Riddle just needs to keep his fingers crossed. But in my opinion, I thought he was very entertaining. I really enjoyed him, But like I said, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
And if it's causing a headache in the back, you can't have it either. So,
yeah.
The other name, and this is a big name that's on the list for 2023. Their contracts are expiring. Alexa Bliss.
Well, another great woman wrestler, another great diva.
Yep.
If it was me, I'd keep her around. But like I said, it's not my call. So, I just, whatever happens, I hope it happens for the best.
And I wonder if she wants to resign. It seemed to me like when she came back this last time, there was just no life in her. Something had happened. I don't know what had happened, but she just didn't seem to have that energy that she had before.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want to be there. Who knows?
But I hope she sticks around because she's nice to look at. Rey Mysterio is another name that's on that list.
Well, Ray, God bless him. I love him to death. Ray's been around a long time. Ray certainly did a lot for the company. And so I don't know. I mean, I think in my opinion, and knowing Ray, I think Ray's kind of, if he is released, I think Ray's kind of ready to take it easy. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's broke up and beat up, man. I mean, so you reach a certain age in your life, you know what I mean? If you saved your money and, you got your finances in order, then take a break. You know what I mean? Let it go. Like me, man. I could care less whether anybody calls me. I'm at home every night. I sleep in my own bed. I go out and do different things, and keep myself busy. Yep. But I had a great run, so I ain't mad at nobody. Nope. So I'm, like I said, I feel so much better, man. I'm relaxed. I'm just at home. So
after all those years of being on the road, I can imagine how nice it feels not to have to be anywhere. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you got to get it in your mind, don't worry about this. This is going to go on with you or without you. So that's what I understand. They're gonna go on whether I come around or not. So that's what I'm saying, man.
It keeps on turning with or without you.
Right, but if they keep Ray, that's great for him and great for the fans, But if they don't, I'm pretty sure it ain't gonna bother Ray. I think he wants to take some time and enjoy the rest of his life with his family, and maybe talk with his son and keep his son out there. Let him carry on the legacy.
Yeah, I was going to say he set his son up very well in WWE. The storyline they've been running with the family and Rhea Ripley and his son, every bit of that's just good stuff. And it would be a good point for Ray to finally step back and be able to step back. So maybe that's what they're planning. The other name on that list, and I'm going to go through a few more because we're about to run out of time. Brock Lesnar is another one. That doesn't surprise me because I really, his contracts always seem to be year to year damn near.
Well, I don't know. Brock's been great for him. He's been right there, took care of it, whatever he was asked to do. So I just don't know. If they keep him around, that's not a bad move. If they release him, that's their call.
The two other names I have on that list are Goldberg and Edge.
Well, Edge, I think he took a great big risk by coming back.
Yes,
I talked to him at one point, and after he had that operation or his surgery, he said the doctors told him, that he couldn't wrestle anymore, that it wouldn't be good for him to do that. And he's another one like Kurt Angle. I guess he, decided, well, I'm going to try it again. But sometimes the guys have it in their blood, and sometimes, every man's got a price. So sometimes they can offer you enough money that might make you think about it, okay? So like I said, I think Edge will be happy either way it goes. I think he's another guy. He's got a kid now and he's married, and I think he's another guy that's ready to kind of kick back and relax and enjoy the rest of his life and his family. Goldberg, I don't think he was ever full-time anyway, so it wouldn't be no big deal with him, and if I was Goldberg, I'd like to keep that deal he's got. Come back every once in a while, get a big fat paycheck and go back home.
Yeah. I'd work Saudi Arabia every show.
Yeah,
those are the big paydays.
He's got the best deal in the house.
Teddy, what you got going on? Anything we need to talk about before we close out?
No, nothing's going on with me, player. Just going to be taking it easier during the month of January. They did talk. Well, I ain't going to even reveal that because I don't know whether that's going to be true or not. So I better wait until it happens. So I ain't going to say nothing about that.
That's called a tease. You have to come back next time and find out if we'll talk about it next time.
Well, I got to find out and make sure that I'm going to be there. Then we'll talk about it. So until I get a plane ticket or something, then I'll let you know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. By the way, folks, again, if you will, if you hear the hammers going off and the saws over here, it's because we got some construction going on. Teddy and I will be back next week with a brand new name, a brand new show. It's just going to be a lot bigger than it is right now. That's what I'm being told. So, Teddy,
all right,
we'll see people next week. This means this is probably our final one-on-one. I'm Mac Davis, and that is WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long.
Holler.